Hey there guys, you're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host Kyle Brotherson. It's been a long time since I've done something really controversial, so I want to do one today. I want to talk about how to break in the motor on your dirt bike. Stick around. Before we get started, let me just give you one caveat, that's one warning. This is my opinion and my opinion only, so your opinion is likely different than mine, and that's okay. This is my opinion and I'm going to state it. And now you get to rip me to shreds down in the comments. Now, let's get into the video. This is one of those hot topics, and I'm not looking to like explode the internet or blow the internet up or anything like that. But I do think this is probably going to be a little bit of a controversial topic because I believe there's a ton of misinformation out there about this specific topic of engine break-in. I see this also because I shoot guns, and I've seen this for a long time in the gun industry also with it's like barrel break-in. You know, you get these long-range shooters that have to do these huge procedures and these mass rituals, you know, on breaking in the barrel of their rifle. And the same thing kind of happens with the dirt bike industry. Whether it's 4 strokes or whether it's 2 strokes, you've got a lot of people telling you, you know, this is what you have to do, and if you don't do this or that, your bike is not going to last as long. And for the most part, this is the too long, Kyle, your videos are too long summary. I think that's a bunch of hogwash. I think engine break-in is literally just a bunch of hogwash. And I don't want to start any fights, although if any of you guys have seen that video, the substitute teacher. Do you want to go to war, Balake? Because we could go to war. I'm for real. You better check yourself. Anyway, I don't want to create too much. I don't really want to go to war with any of you, but I do want to put this out there because I get emails on this just about every week of saying, how do I break in my bike? What do I need to do to break in my motor? And my response to people is just go out there and ride the thing. This isn't rocket science, especially, you know, these 2 strokes. You can make a little bit more of an argument for the 4 strokes, but I'm going to go pretty hard on the fact that these motors are built to very tight tolerances. Some people talk about how you know, you need to give the rings time to seat in and all this stuff. These rings aren't walking from the park like trying to find their way home. Everything in that motor is very tight in a very controlled manner. Everything is built to extremely tight tolerances, tight specs. Yes, I do think it's probably wise not to just go full throttle on your bike through the first tank of gas. Although the race teams do that, they are going full on right off the bat with those bikes when they're brand new in the first hour. Now, they are rebuilding the bikes after every week. But my point is, if you just take your bike out and you go ride it like you normally would, because 99% of the people out there, 99% and probably 99.99% of the people watching this video on this channel are not riding their bikes full throttle in, you know, tapped out in 4th gear, 5th gear all of the time, especially not with your brand new bike. So just ride the bike how you'd normally ride it. Get it hot, let it cool down. But don't worry about it so much. It isn't a big deal. I know in your manuals it's going to say, especially on a lot of the 4-stroke manuals, it's going to say ride at a 1/4 throttle for the first hour, and then in the second hour ride at half throttle, and don't get beyond 3/4 throttle until the bike has 5 to 10 hours. Dudes, the reason why they're saying that in the manual is just to protect their butt. So that if something weird does happen and there is already a pre-existing problem in that motor, that you don't come back to them and say, well, it was because of faulty, you didn't give me the right engine break-in specs. A lot of the stuff in those manuals is just about covering the manufacturer's CYA. This isn't rocket science, again. All you really need to do, whether you're riding a 4-stroke or whether you're riding a 2-stroke, is go out there and ride it. Yes, don't go in 5th gear pinned. Don't go in 6th gear pinned for that first tank of gas, but honestly, just ride the thing. And by the time you make it through 1 tank of gas, you're going to be a couple hours in on the bike. After that point, you're good to go. Just ride it how you're going to ride it. Think about it. On a two-stroke, you're probably not going to put more than 100 to 150. Sometimes I've seen guys go, even 200 hours on a two-stroke. I've seen guys go 300 hours on a two-stroke top end. Those guys are not going to worry about a little power loss. If you're the type of guy that replaces your top end on a two-stroke after about 100 to 150 hours, it's not going to matter to you whether you did this elaborate break-in period or not. The bike is going to run phenomenal for that first 150 hours, no matter how you ride it during the first couple of hours. Trust me. I've had a lot of bikes. I've broken in a lot of bikes. Now, you guys, I can already see the comments. Kyle never keeps his bikes longer than like 10 minutes. So what does he know? Let me address that. I ride a lot of bikes. It isn't the end of the world to ride a bike up to 100 hours and then change the top end. It's not a big deal. It only costs you a couple $100 to do a rebuild. So if my bike can run like a screaming eagle up to 150 hours, and I've done that multiple times on different bikes that I've had, why would I want to do some crazy elaborate break-in procedure to have the same result? It's going to run the same. I know because I've seen it happen. Now, if you wanted to tell me that I'm going to have this four-stroke and I'm going to run it for 500 hours and I'm going to do this elaborate break-in procedure, I don't know. I haven't ever run a four-stroke for 500 hours. That's another thing though. Four-strokes aren't going to last really a ton longer than the two-strokes. Most of the guys that I know that are running the four-strokes are rebuilding in them right around 100 hours, sometimes even less, like around 80 hours or around 50 hours, depending on who they are. So these elaborate break-in procedures, not really giving you, it's not really giving you a payoff in the end. The return on investment, it just really isn't there. The race teams aren't doing like a big break-in procedure. I don't think I need to do a big break-in procedure. And on all the like 20 bikes that I've had, I haven't had any problems with the motors whatsoever. Yes, it's true. A lot of those bikes I have sold at the 20 and 30 and 40 hour mark. But also a lot of those bikes I've ridden well beyond 100 hours. And I've never had a problem with any motor, and I don't go through any elaborate break-in procedure. I'm down there at the KTM headquarters and I'm talking to the race teams. I'm talking to the motocross race team. I'm talking to the race teams for the off-road guys like Cody Webb and these different people, and they don't do a break-in procedure. Graham Jarvis doesn't do a break-in procedure. They just ride the things. So that's my rant, is just ride the bike. Just ride it how you're going to ride it, and unless you are riding it at the maximum allowable limits of the bike, you're not going to hurt anything. Engine break-in, it's so overblown, and I just think people are putting too much stock into it. You're wasting your time by trying to do these elaborate procedures. That's just me. That's my opinion. It may not be any more valid than your opinion, but it is mine, and I thought I would give it to you. Thanks, guys.